Good morning, third years. Let's go through the homework that you had on Thursday using Law 6 and 7 of indices. So you had questions 4 and 5 on page 96, and you were really practicing with squares yesterday and cubes today, because it's really important that you have that understanding that cubes and cube roots are the opposite of each other. So the first part, question 4, gave us a list of integers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and asked us to find their cubes. So 3 cubed was 27, 10 cubed was 1,000, and they filled those in for us. And they didn't say to do it without a calculator, but I would expect you to know the first 5 without a calculator. So 1 cubed is 1, 2 cubed is 8, 4 cubed is 64, 5 cubed is 125. So I would expect you now to know those without checking your calculator, but from then on, and you might start to recognize, I think this is 216, 6 cubed is 216. So you start to recognize them as you do them more and more. 7 cubed, I did the 7th root of 3 for some reason, so 7 cubed is 343, 8 cubed, 512, and 9 cubed, 729. Now those would be values, especially the first 5, that will come up quite a lot. If you were clever about it, based on last night's homework, you would have seen that the answers were in the second table below you. So if you have these values, then 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 216, 343, 512, 729, and 1000. They are perfect cubes, and we can find their cube roots, not cubed, the cube root, which is like a square root sign with a little 3 written in there. So the cube root of 1 is just 1, cube root of 8 is 2, cube root of 27 is 3, cube root of 64 is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So for example, just working one of those out for you, the cube root of 216 is 6. And as we learned from Law 6, this means that 216 to the power of a third, it's another way of writing the same thing, is equal to 6. So these are 2 ways of writing the same thing. And that was just emphasizing cubes and cube roots. It's important that you'd recognize those numbers as being perfect cubes, and it's not something that you're probably very familiar with yet. So certainly the first 5 perfect cubes, you need to know these. You'll see why in the next few classes. Question 5 then. We were using the law of fraction powers with a 1 on top. A to the power of 1 over q is the qth root of a, which is like that fact there. The cube root of 216 means 216 to the power of a third. So we stick it in as a root. So therefore, can we, without using a calculator, but using the answers that we've already done from questions 3 and 4, find the values of these? 100 to the power of a half means the square root of 100. So that's just 10. 64 to the power of a half means the square root of 64, so that's 8. 216 to the power of a third, we actually have it written up here already, means the cube root of 216, which is 6. 512 to the power of a third, going off the screen there, sorry. 512 to the power of a third means the cube root of 512, which is 8. Let's go over here. 16 to the power of a half means the square root of 16, which is 4. 8 to the power of a third means the cube root of 8, which is 2. 9 to the power of a half means the square root of 9, which is 3. 1,000 to the power of a third means the cube root of 1,000, which is 10. And we have two more. 64 to the power of a third means the cube root of 64, not the square root. The cube root of 64 was here. It's 4. And the last part was 36 to the power of a half means the square root of 36, which is 6. So what we're doing there is reminding ourselves that these fraction powers with 1 on top represent a square root or a cube root, and you can be asked a fourth root as we did for our notes as well. Okay, so hopefully that's clear before we start to move on to more difficult questions. Thank you.